Thank you for joining us for The Sky Above, where we'll tell you everything happening in the sky this upcoming month so you can plan ahead and know when to look up. Here's what's heading your way right now on this April episode. One of the oldest recorded meteor showers will grace our sky this month. We'll tell you when you'll have the best chance at seeing the most meteors. Then, a constellation is disappearing. We'll break down how to catch the Orion constellation before it's no longer visible as the season changes. And later on, a Washington company is less than a decade old but is gearing up to send a brand new, completely reusable rocket to space. We talked to Stoke Space about the process of designing and building a rocket from scratch. Thank you so much for being with us for this April episode of The Sky Above. I'm your host, meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. I am joined, as always, by NASA Solar System Ambassador and member of the Seattle Astronomical Society, Keith Crum. Keith, thank you, as always, for being here.
Thank you, Leah. Great to be here.
Happy anniversary, our 12th episode.
12th? Amazing, isn't it?
So exciting.
Wow.
All right, well, we're going to talk about that more in a bit, but let's start where we always do, with our full moon.
Yeah, full moon.
What are the details for our April full moon?
Well, you know, we always have these great names for them, right? The pink moon, and that comes actually from Europe, from the wildflowers, and eastern U.S., and the camellias in my backyard.
I love spring. Spring is here. It's so nice.
Spring is here.
And it's early this year, April 1st, so that's the full moon. But we, of course, like to pay attention to the new moon, April 17th. This is when we'll have our darkest sky. That is going to be a great opportunity for some sky viewing, so we'll talk about some cool things happening right around then. Let's also talk about let's see, you have an interesting factoid for us, correct?
Well, it's a supermoon. It's a super new moon. So we talk about the new moon all the time. You know, it's brighter and it's bigger, but you can't see the new moon. But it is, in fact, a new moon because it is close to Earth. It's at perigee.
It's a supermoon.
Yeah, it's a supermoon because it's close to Earth.
We love a demonstration.
We don't get to see it. But there's the sun.
Okay, so this is the sun.
So as it comes around, as the moon comes around in its 27-day cycle, it's going to be right here.
Okay.
Now it's not going to be an eclipse because it'll be at the wrong angle and the shadow will go off the side here, so we won't have an eclipse that you might expect. But it's close to Earth. It's at 226,000 miles, which is right on the edge of being a supermoon. Some will debate that it isn't a supermoon, but the fact is, it is closest to Earth now, and so between the sun and the moon, we're going to get more pull on these oceans.
Okay.
So watch for king tides.
So we may not be able to visually see anything with this because it's a new moon,
right? But
there will still be impacts.
Right.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we love the demonstration. Thank you for that. Here, I'll give you back the sun. Okay, we always love when the dark sky from our new moon aligns with sights like a meteor shower.
Meteor shower.
We have more props for this one. We'll get the props ready too. Okay, so this one happening this month is the Lyrid meteor shower. Let's talk about when this one peaks.
The 22nd and 23rd overnight. Go out, you know, after midnight, as usually we find that's true. It's close to the new moon, so we won't have a lot of moonlight blocking from our night vision. Dark skies, 10 to 18. So I'm going to make a real big effort this year to get out for the Lyrids because it's...
Oh, it's Lyrid. Is it Lyrid?
Lyrid. I hear both, so I don't know.
But you're going to make an effort to go out.
Yeah. Yes, definitely going to make an effort to go out this, 10 to 18, I'd be happy to see 3.
Right.
You know, so we're going to do that. Now, speaking of meteors, so we have meteoroids. Those are the things before they come into the atmosphere. Meteors are what we see, like in the graphic. Meteorites are what we find.
Okay, time for a demonstration.
These are meteorites. Oh, again, I have that one on my bracelet.
Right.
But then these, one way to test them is if you have a magnet, you can pick them up with the magnet because they're iron.
Okay.
The other way is you can see the melted metal on them.
Oh, all right, let's hold that up.
Yeah.
So, magnetic. Just because of the composition?
Iron.
Just the iron?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. You can test it at home and see if it's real.
These are real meteorites.
Cool.
Just like the one on my bracelet.
And I have that bracelet too. You generously gifted it to me. Thank you so much for that. I love wearing it. Okay, another cool thing happening this month. It's always fun when we have nights where there's a lot going on in the sky. Makes it worth your while. Makes it worth the time. There's a sweet spot this month that has a couple cool things to track down in the night sky. So April, is it 21st?
April 21st, yes. That'd be a good time to go out and see Venus right on the horizon, right in the west, setting. There's also, you can also see Jupiter, just up the so-called ecliptic. The name of it is the ecliptic. The line that all the planets and the sun follow is called the ecliptic. So it's just up a little higher in the sky and a little bit more to the south.
Okay.
If you go down from there, you see the bright star Sirius.
Okay.
So that kind of makes a cool triangle.
Cool.
Right in the middle is Betelgeuse. I say Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse, I like Betelgeuse.
Tomato.
Yeah.
Lyrid.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's April 21st, which I also love, by the way, just as an aside. That April 21st and then the peak of the meteor shower, Earth Day.
Yeah.
It's Earth Day.
Earth Day.
My tied for my first favorite holiday of the year with International Women's Day. But Earth Day is always a good chance to get out and enjoy what beautiful things we have.
Yeah.
So what if you've been watching and you're thinking, I gotta get out and check this stuff out. This feels like the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, and a really good one is to go find Betelgeuse.
Okay.
That's a supergiant that is expected to go nova, supernova one of these days. And that would be amazing. Now, one of these days could be next week or 100,000 years from now. But in astronomical time, that's not that far.
Yeah.
So we keep an eye on that because not too long ago, it seemed that we were going to, it was dimming in 2019, and it seemed like it was gearing up to go supernova, but it didn't happen.
And that's part of the Orion constellation.
Part of the Orion. Here's the Orion, upper right hand belt. The belt of Orion. Everybody knows the three stars, the belt of Orion.
It's the first thing you learn.
Left hand, right hand. It's the one up on the right side as you're looking to be on the left side.
So are you saying that Orion's belt, the iconic 1, 2, 3, we could lose one of those?
No, the upper right hand one is Betelgeuse.
Okay.
So that's the one that could go supernova. We wouldn't lose it. In fact, it's 700 light years away. So it may have already gone supernova, and we're just waiting for the light to get to us.
Oh, well, that's just fascinating. Okay, cool. We will look forward to that. Another thing we've talked about on this show are satellites.
Yes.
And that was our conversation last month. If you watched our March episode, we talked about how many satellites are up in orbit right now, close to 15,000 in space. Keith, you have some insight to add regarding planetary satellites.
Planetary satellites, yes, good. So those are moons.
Oh.
Planetary satellites are moons. So that's just a fancy name for moons. And
why do we call them satellites then?
Well, because they're orbiting a planet, right? So like around Saturn, there's 274 moons.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't know, or maybe they do, I don't know. I just learned this, that Pluto actually has 5 planetary satellites.
Interesting.
It has 5 moons. Pluto, little Pluto has 5 moons.
Wow.
So yeah.
Why would planet Earth, in all of its glory, only have 1 then?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it just our moon came from Earth at some point, like 4 billion years ago.
Okay.
Something large hit the Earth, broke it off. Many different pieces. Over a couple billion years, it congealed all back together and formed our moon. So
fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why we only have 1, because we didn't pick up any others.
Okay. All right. Well, we're lucky. We've got a good one.
Yeah, we have a good one.
Keith, thank you so much for your time, as always. exciting things to look up and look forward to. We'll see you back here next month. Actually, we're going to bring you back at the end of the show because we have some celebrating to do. But we're going to take a quick break. Coming up, there is a relatively new company breaking into the aerospace world with bold ambitions. I'm joined by Washington-based Stoke Space to talk about their new 100% recyclable rocket and when they hope it will launch. Stay with us. Welcome back. We know the big names: Blue Origin, SpaceX, Boeing, the list goes on of globally known aerospace companies, many with ties right here in Washington. But there's a new one you may not have heard of yet, hoping to make waves in space for a first of its kind, 100% recyclable rocket. I'm so excited to welcome Cameron Wakefield and Andrew Hanna from Stoke Space. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I'm ecstatic to learn more about what you guys are working on. But first, I just have to say, Cameron, you grew up in Seattle.
Yes, I did.
So how did that draw you to working in the aerospace industry?
Yeah, well, as a child, I grew up, with the Boeing facility around here, going to the Museum of Flight. My dad would take me out to see meteor showers occasionally. So I just, from a young age, really developed an interest in space, and eventually, as I got older and started working in the aerospace industry.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Stoke Space. For someone who's never heard of Stoke Space, let's see, Andrew, how would you describe it?
So we're a company based in Kent, Washington. We're building a 100% fully reusable rocket. You've probably seen other companies land rocket back on the pad before. What we're doing is bringing back both the first and second stage. So we know you love a prop.
I love props. Bring the props in.
So this is our presentation of our rocket Nova.
Okay.
This is the first stage, similar to what you've seen before of other rockets that return back to the pad or land on a barge. What's different is our second stage of the rocket, which we intend to be able to reuse, bring back to Earth, land on the pad, and launch it again, which helps us bring down the cost of flight dramatically.
Interesting. Okay, I want to talk about the logistics of that in just a moment, but you are a relatively new company, and it seems like you've exploded a lot in recent years. Cameron, tell me about the makeup of the company and how big it is now.
Yeah, sure. So it's, yes, grown exponentially. We're now at about just over 300 people. We've got our site here in the Seattle area in Kent. We've also got our test facilities out in Moses Lake, Washington, and we have our launch pad in Cape Canaveral, Florida. It's actually the same launch pad from which John Glenn took his historic space flight in 1962, becoming the first free man in space.
Oh. Amazing. Cool. Okay, and we're going to unpack all of those locations and show you some visuals from those in a bit. But let's talk about kind of the big goal here. And as you said, 100% reusable. I don't know, I'm kind of just surprised to hear that that doesn't exist yet.
It's because it's really hard, Leah. It's really, really difficult to bring things back through upper atmosphere without them burning up upon reentry. So you have to protect the spacecraft in some way. We have a very different way of doing it from some other companies or ways things have been done in the past. So the bottom of our second stage is a metal base heat shield, which upon reentry absorbs all the heat. The base shield is also actively cooled through our fuel, which is liquid hydrogen, which is very, very, very cold. So those two things together help it survive reentry. It's a novel design, and that's what makes us different.
So for anything we send into space right now, what happens to that piece?
It gets thrown away.
Thrown away?
Into space.
In space. Mm-hmm. Lovely. And they just exist.
It floats off.
Okay. So we're fixing that.
Yes.
Completely not reusable right now. We're trying to fix that.
Amazing. Okay. Why has no one done this yet? Are there barriers? Like, what's the big challenge with making this a reality?
Sure. I can talk a little bit about that. We've done this in the past through the Space Shuttle program, as well as other companies are trying to bring back other upper stages back to Earth. The problem is that the way we traditionally do this is using ceramic tiles that help protect the spacecraft when it comes through upper atmosphere. The problem with ceramic tiles is that they're really brittle, they break really easily, and if there's a crack, you could have a catastrophic situation where the spacecraft comes apart. So we think our design is much more robust. It doesn't require you to check every single tile every single time, and lets you fly again much faster, much quicker.
Interesting. Okay. And let's talk about the technicalities of creating a rocket from scratch. Cameron, let's talk about where it's being built. It's great that you guys are local, right? We love local companies. Anytime there's a local company, it's amazing. But you are doing so much of this work in Washington. Let's start with the factory and where you're building it.
Yeah, so we're down in Kent, Washington, like I mentioned before. That's where the manufacturing happens. So we've got a team of engineers, team of technicians, all on the same site together, designing, building, prototyping, and that's where the first part of the puzzle pieces come together. And then our Moses Lake test site is where everything gets shipped for testing. And Andrew, I think, was going to talk a little bit about that part.
Well, let's talk about the building still a little bit more. Yeah. You must need a big facility for that. Right? You're building a rocket. I mean, how much of a footprint does this take up?
Yeah, we're about 170,000 square feet in Kent, Washington. Some of the things you saw in the video earlier were our first headquarters. We've since expanded dramatically to a large warehouse. It's sort of like a adapted Amazon warehouse, if you can picture that, where you just go in and you see people bringing in like hardware, raw materials, putting together actual barrels, what would recognizably be visible as a rocket. It's really incredible stuff. And right next to that is where all of our engineers and business folk work. So they work hand in glove with our technicians out there.
Cool. Okay, so we build it in Kent, and then we take it to Eastern Washington for testing.
Exactly.
Tell me about that process.
Yeah, we test 100% of our rocket here in Washington State, which is something that makes us unique. We've built a test stand out in Eastern Washington, which you can see in the video that's playing right now. And we test our first stage engine, our second stage engine, various components of the engine before we ship them out to Florida for actual integration and launch in the future.
Wow. Have you seen these in person, I'm assuming, the tests?
I have. It's really cool.
What is it like to see that?
It's really loud.
Yeah. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Well, there we go. Eastern Washington, a little more rural. I'm sure you can, we're not bothering the neighbors as much. Okay, so then we take it to Florida. Tell me about, first of all, what that process is like of getting it to Florida and then actually launching it and where we are in that timeline as well.
Sure. So one of the things that's really interesting about rockets is that you either have to drive them or put them on a barge and ship them to where you're going to launch from, typically Florida or Southern California. We don't have a barge, so we're driving it, and the design of the rocket, the diameter is shaped in some ways by the heights of tunnels or where traffic lights are, and basically how thick the rocket is constrained a little bit by some of the infrastructure of our highway system. So you basically ship all the components down to Florida, you integrate it or put the rocket together, and then you run some more tests. You do wet dress rehearsal, something that we call it, where you basically fill it up with fuel and do all the tests and do everything except for launching before you launch to make sure you're ready.
Cool. Okay. And Cameron, timeline on that. How are we looking? What's the goal? What's the anticipated launch date?
As soon as possible. We're hoping for possibly later this year, but no specific date in mind right at this time.
Okay. All right. So exciting to see. And you also have a really cool program for recruiting people into the industry as well, right? Can you tell me about that, Cameron?
Yes, that's our ELAT program. It's our entry-level aerospace technician program, and it's for high school, GED, education level folks to join Stoke Space. If you're interested in getting into the aerospace industry, it's a great way to join. Our team is really great about mentoring and bringing people in through that program, and we've actually had several full-time employees come through that program as well. So it's something we're really excited about, and people really seem to gravitate toward.
Amazing, cool to see. And let's talk about big picture here. We, 2019, you started this. You're already in this almost launching phase, huge steps. What do you see in the next years and decades of what this could mean for the aerospace industry?
We think that it's really important to increase the cadence of launch because there are so many people who want to put satellites into space. You have Amazon LEO, used to be known as Project Kuiper. You have many people trying to put other communication satellites, maybe data centers in space. We'll see. So the demand for launch is going to go way, way up, and we need to be able to meet that. And we're hoping to launch on sort of an aircraft-like cadence, several times a week or even more, which is what full reusability helps unlock for us.
Yeah. How many times can it be reused?
We'll have to test it and let you know.
Okay. That's got to be a fun thing to do. Amazing. Anything else you want people to know?
Go check out, if you're interested in working with us, go check out our website. We have lots of roles open. We are hiring lots of engineers and expertise. And if you want to help build the future of spaceflight, come work for Stoke Space. It's
cool to see how rooted Washington is in aerospace.
Definitely. It's so exciting to me too. But when I heard of Stoke for the first time, I just thought I have to be part of this company.
Yeah.
Especially as somebody who's, born and raised here, definitely want to be part of that.
And Cameron, you said something to me earlier about the gentleman who founded the company. They have boots on the ground, hands-on experience doing this exact thing.
Yeah, they're both engineers by training, both worked in the aerospace industry for a long time. And just thought, this was the next, big shift in the aerospace industry, and thought, if nobody else is doing it, why not us?
Yeah, love it. Add another aerospace company to the Washington list. Andrew, Cameron, thank you both so much for your time and expertise. This is so cool to see, and I am excited to see how testing and a launch, an eventual launch goes.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, and stick with us. We have much more to come. It's a big milestone here for the sky above. We'll tell you about that coming up. If this is your first time watching our monthly astronomy show, The Sky Above, welcome. If not, thank you for staying with us. This month is a fun milestone for us. It's our 12th episode. 1 year ago, I launched this show. It started after one of our impressive Northern Lights showings. My assistant news director, also an astronomy nerd, suggested we should start a show that gives people a heads up when cool things are happening in the sky, so no one wakes up the next morning and realizes they missed an astronomical event. Keith, you have been my ongoing guest since the beginning, and for that I thank you.
Yeah, it's been a great time. It's been so fun, Leah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So much more to come. But in the last year, we've had so many guests and conversations ranging from plans to go to the moon and Mars to different types of telescopes to how many satellites are in space to encouraging teenagers to get excited about science. I have to know if you have a favorite conversation we've had.
It's tough. It's tough to pick. It does jump. You mentioned the telescopes. So we brought in big telescopes. We have 5 big telescopes here that we walked through, and that was really fun. That was really fun. My good friend Crystal Kaya from the Seattle Astronomical Society, she talked about the rovers on Mars and brought us up to date on them, and the possibility of finding life on Mars, which we still don't know, but they're working on it. The other one was Roger Meyer, and that's probably the one I personally learned the most from, because he talked about having nuclear energy on the moon in preparation for going to Mars, people on Mars. So those are ones that pop right up at off the top of my head. But I thought they were all up. I'm biased, but I thought they were all great. So
I agree. And quickly, we have 20 seconds. One of my favorite things that we've done every single month is you always have a red light viewing tip of the month, and you always.
This was the last one.
This was last month. Yeah. He always has a new creative way to talk about how to use red light etiquette. What is this month's?
Well, really, this one was good for prepping the eyes. This one is good to use for when you set up at night.
Yep.
So this is really good, but don't shine in anybody's eyes.
Nope.
If you're out alone, you can use this one.
Okay.
If you're with other people, going back to the first one I brought, which is that one.
Perfect.
So that's probably the one that's the best.
I love it. Okay, Keith, thank you so much. I'm excited to see how many more creative ways you can come up with that.
Me too.
And with that, we say thank you. Thank you so much for being with us for this April episode of our monthly astronomy show, The Sky Above. I'm your host, meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. We will be back with you for next month for a brand new episode discussing everything flying through the sky so you know when to look up.